Students, let's begin the chapter. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, written by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This chapter is an extract from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, the first black president of South Africa. Dear students, in South Africa, a brutal practice named apartheid was followed. Apartheid is a political system that separates people according to their race. Apartheid refers to the discrimination between people on the basis of their race, that means white or black. It was one of the most brutal societies where dark-skinned people were deprived of their basic rights. So students, this lesson gives us an overview as to how Nelson Mandela, along with others, carved their way to a society where there will be no discrimination on the basis of their color, caste, race, age, or gender. So friends, have you heard of Nelson Mandela? Mandela and his African National Congress spent a lifetime fighting against apartheid. Mandela had to spend 30 years in prison. Finally, democratic elections were held in South Africa in 1994, and Mandela became the first black president of a new nation. In this extract from his autobiography Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration. Can you guess what the occasion might be? Check your guess with this news item from the BBC of 10th May 1994, inauguration. Inauguration means, students, the beginning or introduction of a system or a policy or some political party, the beginning or introduction. So Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration. What was the inauguration? Can you guess that? Right. Then read this news. Mandela becomes South Africa's first black president. Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of white rule. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress, ANC, African National Congress Party, won 252 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Building's amphitheatre in Pretoria today, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. Never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another, said Nelson Mandela in his address. Jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony with blacks, whites, and the coloreds celebrating together. More than 1 lakh South African men, women, and children of all races sang and danced with joy. This was the news from the BBC of 10th May 1994. 10th May 1994. So students, now we are going to go through part 1 of our lesson, Nelson Mandela. Please follow the text while I am reading and note down the meanings of new vocabulary. Please follow the text. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. 10th May, what was the special of the day? 10th May 10th, exactly. Yes, 10th May was exactly, sir. 10th May was the day when Nelson Mandela sworn in as the first black head of the state, South Africa. Yes, he was going to become the president of South Africa, first black president of South Africa. On that day he was going to sworn in. So that day dawned. The dawned means very beginning, early morning. Dawned, the beginning of the day, bright and clear. The day was very bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders. I means Nelson Mandela. I had been pleasantly besieged. Besieged means surrounded by, just met by, surrounded by many dignitaries. Pleasantly means very happy. Happily surrounded by many dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. So for the last 2 to 3 days, many world leaders and dignitaries were coming to wish me. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. It would be the inauguration day would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. So it was after years of struggle that his anti-racist party came into power. So until then, the seat had always been occupied by white presidents. That is why the author referred to the day as bright and clear. It was a morning full of hope. Days before the date, many notable personalities, that means dignitaries, started congratulating him for his victory. For the first time in the country's history, so many international leaders came together for their inauguration ceremony. Next passage. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So students, the ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre. Amphitheatre means, this was the amphitheatre, an open theatre. This theatre has no roof. It was open theatre actually. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre. So the ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. So the ceremony took place in an open circular building made of sandstone consisting of Union buildings in the Pretoria city. Pretoria is the capital of South Africa. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy. And now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So for many years, this place had been ruled by white people. It had been the seat of white supremacy. Supremacy means leaders, white people. But now it was the site of rainbow gatherings of different colors. Here you can see many people of different colors gathered here. It was like rainbow. And nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. Now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. non-racial government. It was the government was formed by the black people, non-racial. There was no racism there. No racism was existed. Till then, the whole land was ruled by the white people. Yes, the white people were deprived of the black people, deprived the rights of the black people. Now, the government of black people was going to be formed. Nelson Mandela was the president of this government. Next passage. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Janani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. First person who was sworn in was Mr. de Klerk as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. So the second person was Thabo Mbeki, who was sworn in as the first deputy president. So here, after two vice presidents, now it was the turn of Mr. Nelson Mandela. See here. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. When it was my turn, I promised to obey and uphold the Constitution and devote myself, dedicate myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, on that day, those who gathered there in the open auditorium, to the assembled guests and the watching world, I said, what did he say? Just follow the text. Today, all of us do by our presence here confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. What a wonderful words these are. Today all of us do, by our presence here, confer, give glory and hope to newborn liberty. Newborn liberty. Liberty was born, it was newborn. We should give glory and hope. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster, out of the experience of this human disaster, damage to many humans, out of this experience that lasted too long, this experience existed too long, now it must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Now, a new society was born, a newborn liberty, which all humanity will be proud. So next passage, we who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. We, who were outlaws not so long ago, have today been given the rare privilege, rare opportunity, privilege means opportunity, to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil, to welcome to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests who had gathered here for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory. A victory for who? Victory for justice, victory for peace, victory for human dignity. Here, see here, who are outlaws. Because of its policy of apartheid, many countries had earlier broken off diplomatic relations with South Africa. So many countries had lost their relations with South Africa. They didn't want to continue the business with South Africa due to this apartheid, racism, exactly. Next passage. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. So we have at last achieved our political emancipation. Emancipation means freedom from restriction. We have achieved our political freedom from restriction. We have got our political freedom. We pledge ourselves to liberate, to free all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. So we ourselves should take a pledge that we should liberate all our people from the bondage of poverty, from the slavery of poverty, deprivation, not having rightful benefits, deprivations, not having rightful benefits, suffering, gender and other discrimination, other discrimination. So never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. I promise that never and never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. There would be no oppression of one by another. I promise that it never shall it be a re-experience again of this oppression. No person can try to oppress other person on this land. We have achieved our political emancipation, freedom, political freedom. It's our land now. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. The sun never set. That means the sun never set means there would be no setting. There would be no darkness on the glorious human achievement. So let freedom reign. God bless Africa. Let freedom reign. Reign means rule. Let freedom reign our country. God bless Africa. What beautiful, beautiful words these are. So, student, this is part 1. Please go through the text again and answer the worksheet given to you. Thank you.